Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie West. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan. It's kind of a twofold analogy that I want to give as it relates to kind of getting the behavior that we want out of other people, not in a manipulative way, not in a nefarious way, but as we're trying to train people or coach people how to treat us, as we're trying to raise up kids and try to get good outcomes for them. One of the things that I often kind of snicker at, and not in a lighthearted or cavalier way, but in a way that, like, I'm a stubborn woman. I need to use that stubbornness to my advantage. I suspect many of you are stubborn, but you use your stubbornness in the wrong way. If you harness it in the right way, there's some really cool things that can happen. Now I want to use the illustration. So first off, I said it's a two-part idea here. Number one is pick your battles. If you're going to make everything a battle, you're going to lose with your kids, you're going to lose in your relationships, you're going to lose with your coworkers, you're just going to lose a whole lot. If everything has to matter, then nothing matters. And I want to start kind of by laying that as a foundation. But once you've picked your battles, your job is to create a system and then stick to it. And stick to it stubbornly. And that's the piece, I think, where there's a lot of breakdown that happens. When we talk about habit formation, I don't know how many times I sit with clients, and let's say we're doing something as simple as training our dog. And so for a while, they're very intentional with their dog, so they don't want their dog to jump on people. So for a couple weeks, they're insistent, like, no jump, no jump, no jump. And they follow through and they follow through. And then after a couple weeks, they just kind of get annoyed with it, even though the behavior is close to extinct. So the dog is only on occasion jumping. They look at all the progress they've made and they kind of gloss over it. And instead of pushing through that last 10% and being doggedly persistent, pun intended, clever, I know, they give up on the endeavor. And the bummer is they were this close to having the behavior that they actually wanted. And so if we refuse to be stubbornly persistent, once we've chosen something as our battle, and then we back off before it's allowed to achieve success, what do we expect to happen outside of feeling defeated? Other people get stressed or annoyed with us or frustrated with us, and we just are in a perpetual cycle of things not going the way we want. Let's harness that stubbornness. So the anecdote that I would use is when I was a middle school and high school teacher, often, I didn't teach 10th grade, but often I would teach students 7th grade through 12th grade at some point in language arts and social studies. And so when they came to me in 7th grade, I had literally one rule in my class. Now, the framework for the class was respect. So respect to God, respect to your neighbor, respect to your teacher, respect to your environment. That was just a baseline expectation. You don't get to come in and be disrespectful. But outside of that framework, I had one rule. You don't throw stuff in my class. Now, it does violate some of the aforementioned rules potentially, but here's why that's the particular hill that I died on, because there's going to be chaos that erupts if people start to throw stuff willy-nilly and get away with it. So it is the one thing I would hamp down on. But there was a caveat. If you're across the room and you throw a paper into the trash can or into the recycle bin and you make it, I don't pick the battle. It's fine. You can throw whatever you want. You just better make it. If you don't make it, you're cleaning up my entire class. So now I'm teaching the child or the young student about risk reward. Now, I can throw it and make it. Great. I get to look cool in front of my classmates. I don't have to walk across the classroom and put my stuff away. If I miss it, I look silly and I have to give up some of my noon hour to clean. And so they got to make a decision about do they engage this behavior or not. But here was kind of the secret to it. Starting in 7th grade, it was probably 3 or 4 weeks, literally every time a kid would raise their arm, I'd be like, oh, you know what happens, I hope you make it. Or every time they would miss it, I would go write their name on the board. And if they threw a pen to a partner and the partner misses it, sorry, pick better friends, pick people who are more coordinated, now you gotta clean my classroom. And I was doggedly persistent. What would happen within a week or two, kids would throw stuff, they'd be like, oh. If they missed, they would look shocked. Then they would walk up to the board and they would write their name on the board. They would show up at noon hour because that was the process. Now, every couple weeks, every couple months, I probably had to do a reminder if I noticed that people were throwing stuff. But outside of that, it literally ran itself. I set the foundation in 7th grade, and these students knew, besides a gentle reminder at the start of 8th grade, start of 9th grade, if someone did throw something, I didn't create exceptions. I made sure I wrote their name on the board. They got, oh, I didn't mean to throw it, or it doesn't matter. I'm not mad at you. You're just cleaning my classroom. I stuck to my guns time after time, and they did not throw stuff in my classroom. And if they did cost benefit analysis, and they ran through the consequences, and they went ahead and had to do the consequences. The system ran itself because at the start of 7th grade, I took a couple weeks. I was the jerk. Every little kind of, pivot from throwing stuff, it was going to get called out, and it was going to get called out consistently. Didn't matter who was doing it. If I use my stubbornness that way, I'm telling students what the behavior is that I want, and I'm holding them accountable again and again and again. And let's say they get annoyed with me. I don't care. I'm not going to do reminders from 7th grade through 12th grade because they have impulse control issues. I'm going to tamp down on it early on, consistently, aggressively, and over time the system takes care of itself. On occasion, I might have to do gentle reminders, but I never took it personally. They're kids, they throw stuff, impulse happens, but there was always going to be a consequence if I saw it. I want to encourage you, if you pick a hill to die on, if you pick something that you're passionate about, no, I'm not passionate about them not throwing stuff, I am passionate about maintaining a certain ambiance in my classroom, so that is a battle that I picked. But once I pick that battle, it is my job to follow through consistently, and out stubborn even the most stubborn middle schooler. You can do it. I assure you, you can do it. I know that I can do it. It's something to consider. Do not give up the fight. If it is a battle that's actually worth fighting for, it's for the other people's good, that they're not just willy-nilly doing some impulsive behavior. Then hunker down and grin and bear it. You have to work on kind of building your stamina, building your endurance, and engaging your stubbornness. And often it has a pretty incredible payoff.